Barkley explained that Shaq was the most dominant big man he'd ever seen, but would still rank him outside of his top 10. Shannon, how wrong is Barkley?
It's not that crazy, Skip. When you really look at it, I got Jordan, Bron, Kareem, Wilt, Bird, Magic, Duncan, Russell. All of them in front of him. Now, that's right now. So where are you going to put KD? Where are you going to put Steph Curry when they're all said and done? Skip, I just think the thing is, as dominant as he was, he only won one MVP. Now, we can go back and forth and we talk about the year that I think it was Steve Nash beat him out his first year at Miami. Yep. We can make that case, Skip, but at the end of the day, he still only has one MVP. And everybody that I got on this list in front of him has at least three.
Shaquille O'Neal was the most dominant big man I have ever seen, which is why I got him all the way up at third on my list ahead of all the other big men.
No way.
He would have destroyed anybody else, prime to prime, like Wilt. He would have destroyed him.
Skip, okay, all that being said, he got one regular season MVP for all that domination. That's all he got.
Okay, but because he was too good for his own good. They wouldn't give him MVP because it was like it was unfair. They couldn't even referee.
Let me ask you a question.
Is that an offensive foul or?
Let me ask you a question. Was it unfair from Shaq when Shaq played from 90, I think Shaq came in the league in 92, from 92 until he retired, or when Wilt played? Was it more unfair for Wilt or more unfair for Shaq?
Well, it was unfair for Wilt.
Exactly.
He had nobody to guard.
But he got 4 MVPs.
Okay. I believe Shaq would have destroyed Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. He just wouldn't have been strong enough to deal with him.
Well, Kareem would have had 50 because he can't block the sky hook. It's the most unstoppable shot ever created.
Hey, when Shaq decided to defend,
there was no defending that.
Okay, but it could be hot and cold. You could push him out to shoot 20-footers, you know.
Yeah, he still averaged 20 and 10. He's one of the few guys that got 20 and 10.
He didn't have to deal with Shaq in his prime.
But Skip, you know, he played Wilt, he played Elijah Wan. It's not like he played some scrubs at center now.
Charles.
All right, that's all we have for you. Years in the making and is titled The Meaning of Hitler. This was announced yesterday after earlier this week, Eagles receiver Deshaun Jackson faced criticism for a social media post that included a quote that was attributed to Hitler. So, Skip, what do you make of the timing of this?
First of all, Mr. Sharp, I could not make this up. Seriously. Step back. Wait a second. Wait, we just heard that Deshaun Jackson posted a quote that he attributed incorrectly to Hitler that came off as very anti-Semitic.
Correct.
As the owner, who is Jewish, of the Philadelphia Eagles, is wrapping up a documentary through his production company called The Meaning of Hitler. I couldn't make that up. I couldn't sell it here in Hollywood.
Took over 3 years in 9 countries.
Okay, and it just happened to be wrapping right now. I can't. This is even beyond. I thought the Kelly Loeffler situation with the Atlanta Dream was preposterous. It couldn't happen.
Right.
In Atlanta, Georgia, this is happening.
Right.
She's the co-owner of that team, and she's going to run for a senator. It can't happen.
Right.
But it did.
It did.
And this did happen.
Right.
I believe it was no coincidence that got announced yesterday.
Right.
I believe they sped up the announcement because of what happened, number one, to capitalize on all the attention that wrongly Deshaun drew to Adolf Hitler.
Correct.
Because I'm sure there are a lot of people, a lot of younger people, they're not even sure who Adolf Hitler was,
That is
right?
correct. Yes.
And so all of a sudden, Jeffrey Lurie's saying, let's announce right now that we have just wrapped. We're ready to show this to the world. He's had production companies that have done other documentaries, one on Wall Street that won an Academy Award.
It was unbelievable. Matt Damon.
Woo.
It's great. I watched it about 5 times, Skip.
Okay. So I'm sure he's also very proud of this one because this is dear to his heart.
Correct.
So he wants to capitalize on the attention just to help promote the meaning of Hitler, right?
Yes.
But number two, I believe that he also wanted to speed up this announcement to use it as even more of a teaching moment for Deshaun and everybody who doesn't know about Adolf Hitler.
Correct.
And make it sort of educational punishment for Deshaun. Almost sort of rub it in like, here, this is what I've been working on. Let me show you this, Deshaun.
Skip, it's kind of like The Last Dance. Okay, you knew who Michael Jordan was, but we're going to show you who he really was.
Good point. I hate to compare Jordan to Hitler,
but
okay, I got you. I got you. I believe that Jeff Lurie and his GM, Howie Roseman, also Jewish, found themselves in a tricky spot this week because they are Jewish, that if they did go ahead and punish Deshaun, I thought he deserved some punishment just to say, no, you can't do that. That's too far. I'm just doing it in a vacuum. I don't care what color he is. It's just it's a Jewish thing. It's not a black-white thing. That's just me. So if they sit back and say, should we fine him? Should we suspend him? Or should we cut him? In any instance of any punishment, people could say, oh, come on, you're overreacting and you're over-punishing Deshaun because you're Jewish and we get it's dear to your heart, but that's unfair to him. So I think they sat back and said, okay, let's just let it lay, but let's go ahead and announce Jeffrey Lurie just wrapped the meaning of Hitler just to drive home the point to Deshaun. We are taking this so seriously, and here's the deepest irony of this. What cause is dearest to Jeffrey Lurie's heart? He fights white supremacy. What's the deepest cause in your heart of hearts? What do you despise the most? Deshaun or Steven Jackson. What do you despise the most? Will you share it with your owner?
Absolutely.
White supremacy. Who was the ultimate white supremacist?
Hitler.
Adolf Hitler. It's not even close. He wanted to genocide. He wanted to eliminate an entire group of people from the face of the earth. White supremacist. Again, they were a white, but again, that's where he was headed. Was toward, I don't want to get too deep. You should watch this because I think it's going to be really great. So the point is, I couldn't make this up, but it's almost to the point it feels like when they premiere this, Deshaun may introduce it. It may come to that point, and maybe it will turn into a great learning experience for everyone because it's right on time. Aha, here's my documentary, Deshaun. How much did you enjoy it? And he can introduce it by saying, oh, I learned so much that I should have known before I hit send.
Skip, you're exactly right, because that was my first point. This is an unbelievable teaching moment. Skip, I think the thing is that you think you know, I really like documentaries because every time I watch a documentary, I do find out some things that I didn't actually know about the person. And I thought I knew a lot about different, and Skip, I guess COVID and having Netflix, I watched a lot of documentaries over the last 3-4 months.
I hear
and
you.
I'm like, wow, I didn't really know that about such and such. You know, I'm watching one of The Temptations, and I'm like, damn, Dennis Edwards took over for David Ruffin in the, I'm like, okay. Wow, I didn't know that. But Skip, when you look at it, and people, please, all I'm trying to do is say that the younger generation that didn't get an opportunity to see Michael Jordan play, this Last Dance documentary gave you a glimpse into what made him tick, how he came to be, what drove him, what was his passions. It also shed some light that he was a flawed individual. Hitler, so a lot of people, like I said, I don't think, you know, we don't go into real depth with history, Skip, because it's uncomfortable. To know somebody was that devious, that diabolical, that they would kill, literally try to, exterminate it between 6 and 10 million people for no other reason. Because we are superior and we want to show you. And Skip, he said, what this documentary hopes to encapsulate was the rise of white supremacy and neo-fascism in the U.S. and the world, and among the most important and serious threats we face. So in other words, domestic terrorism right here. You worried about Al-Qaeda and the jihadists and all that other stuff, the Taliban, right here in America. Jeffrey Lurie said, look, I need to show this because there are so many that think Hitler is dead, but there are so many that have his ideology. And that's what we're going to have to kill in order to preserve what is America. That's the biggest threat. Jeffrey Lurie and Skip, 3 years, there are very few movies that shoot for that length of time. I mean, normally, you come up with an idea, like, okay, you're right. You know, I've heard people talk and say, you know, it takes about a year. You come up with an idea, it takes you, 6 to 9 months to maybe shoot it, and then another 6 to, this shot over 3 years in 9 countries. So it tells you, Skip, they poured a lot of money into this. They put a lot of time into this, a lot of thought into this. This ain't just something that, well, let's just put this together. And I like the fact, Skip, this started this is not all of a sudden something rushed. He might have rushed the announcement.
I believe he did.
But they took the time to do this thoroughly. This is going to be a well thought out, a well written, a real piece. And I like it because I want to see I just something about documentaries because you get an opportunity, you see